It's Pam. Well, it's morning here. I'm just playing in my journal. It's not as early as it usually is when I'm playing, but I thought I'd bring you along because a lot of you seem to like the process videos. So I'm going to start out with some matte medium and some ripped up map pieces. These are some pieces from a North Carolina map. I don't know if I want it quite that big. I'll just rip them up as I go. And I don't use blue a whole lot in my work, but I'm gonna just go with it. I'll probably cover most of it up anyway, so. And this is the Square Dilutions Journal. If anybody wants to know, I think it's 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. And this one's getting right chunky, so the back side doesn't want to lay flat. I'm almost finished with it. Don't have too many pages left to go. Just gonna put some matte medium. Did I say gesso earlier? Do you know if I said gesso, Kyle?
Listen.
Anyway, it's matte medium. I don't even know if I said gesso. Already messing up. I haven't had enough coffee yet. And my sinuses are still being a bugaboo. I may just have him to skip forward on this part so you're not watching this boring bits. I'll put this over here. Or fast forward it would be better so you can still see it but not have to endure all this no talking and slow parts. We were cleaning my father-in-law's truck out yesterday and found some of these maps in there, and he was about to throw them away. I was like, no, I'll use those. Gimme. I haven't really ever used any map pieces under my work, so I'm curious to see how this is gonna play out. There. I don't think I'm gonna use the matte medium anymore. We shall see. I'm gonna dry this just a little bit. Not goodness, not too much, because I'm just going to go right over it with some gesso, and I'll be right back. I don't know if this is sliding or the camera. I'm going to take some gesso and a palette knife and just put some on the page. My son formatted this SD card for this camera, so hopefully that's going to solve the problem with it cutting off. We'll see. Canon, whoever we spoke to at Canon wasn't a big help at all. What did he say, Kyle?
He told me to
That was
reset
common.
the format, and I told him I do that all the time already, and he also told me to reset all of my camera settings, which made it worse for us, but I fixed it all. But
Yeah, but didn't he say there was nothing you could do about it?
he said that particularly camera is an older
particular
model,
camera? Yeah.
and it was it does that often, so it's kind of,
I don't know. I think he was just blowing smoke up his butt. And Kyle, not being experienced enough, he's 15, didn't know the right questions to ask, or they don't want to be rude to someone, to an adult, or think they're coming across as rude. I'll put it that way. I know my oldest one's always kind of leery about speaking up for himself, but to an adult, anybody older, but that's good. But okay, so now I got gesso on here. I'm gonna dry this and be right back. Okay, because my favorite thing to draw is faces, I'll kind of look at this page now, try to figure out the placement of it. Where do I want it? How big? I think I'm gonna go pretty large on this one. I think I'm gonna do the nose area through here too, so I'll balance out the eyes. And I've gotten really I've really been favoring some oval shaped eyes the last couple of days. I think what I'll do is just go ahead and put the nose down first. A little larger. What I usually do is kind of, well, not always, but I'll just kind of lightly do a line, how far apart, because I like the eyes to be right beside the nose. So I'm going to do an oval shape here and try to keep it evenly over here. We'll see. You'll know that doesn't always work. I'll just measure it. Try to get it around the same size. Put some scribbly bits. There, does that even look even? This thing is flashing already, or it was. I have to keep looking up to make sure it's not going to cut off on me. And the lips from the last couple of days have no top lip really. It's just the black pencil, well not black, but the pencil. Just like that, like a flattened out M. And then the bottom lip. So I'm going to see how that's going to look, if that nose might be a bit too wide. It may be okay. About the same. This eye looks different. I'm not used to drawing flat. I'm used to having my easel up here, so it's more in my face. And I think that eye needs to come over a bit. I think that's a little more even. This right eye is still higher. I've said in previous videos I tend to be right-handed. I'm right-handed, so I tend to go upward. So to fix that, I'm going to try to just raise this one up a little bit. And I'll lower that one just a smidgen. Let's see if that'll work. That eye still looks bigger. Let's see. It is. Yep, that's my OCD kicking in now. So, which direction do we want this chickie looking in? Is the next thing. Just gonna draw a little piece of an eyelid here. So we're looking straight on. Will that work? And then I do measure sometimes just to hopefully get the top of these about the same. It's funny, you do one side and you can't get the other side to be can't do the same thing twice without it. There. So now I'll kind of just redefine this eye shape a little bit. And I've liked doing smaller pupils lately. This line and this map's making this lip look a little longer. So that's okay. So now I'm going to draw in the face. Sometimes I'll draw the face and then the features, and I tend to kind of just vary on that. But I do like a more square kind of cheek. Where this part right here kind of starts going back up around the mouth. See, even this seems like it's going up. I'm not digging that nose. And this is my process other than talking in the mornings. This is my thought process. So I'm going to take that nose away. I did get a new eraser, this Tombow Mono black one, but on the gesso, it does okay on just the paper, but on the gesso it just doesn't, not as crazy. Here, I did her nostrils a bit too far apart, I believe, for my liking. There. And another thing that I've kind of changed up is doing this part of the eyelid. I used to leave lighter, and I kind of like it a little bit darker. I don't know, it gives it more of a smoky eye look to me. And I like it a little better. One thing about working on this gesso though, it allows you to smooth this graphite out really, really nice. But you have to be careful when you rub it, because it does move it, allow it to be moved. I was looking at this part over here, this was a little too high. Let's see if I can get that to look right now. Kind of eyeball my space here and here to see if it's at least similar. That one's a little more, but yeah, maybe too picky. You can. But that's where you start getting into not having so much fun. This eye's a little bigger, but that's okay. I don't think anybody's got two even anythings on their body. Okay. Y'all know, if you've watched my videos, this stump and my pencil are my two favorite tools. And I've got some pieces in this book where I try to leave out part of the face and not have to have an outline each time, but it's hard. I see all these people with the pieces of faces and it's unfinished, but it looks so good. Or it's not unfinished, but it's got an unfinished look about it. But I really like it, and I try to do that. And yep, there. Now I want to decide whether I want to add hair or just leave it. And I think I'm going to leave it and put some color up here. Yesterday I did a face and put a flower up here. I don't know if I'll do the same here. I don't want to be too much the same. I think I'll just start adding some color. Now I need to decide if I want to use this palette or this one. I think I'll use this one. This one's my core watercolors. Get my brush good and wet, and I'm going to use this color that's already on here, but it's a little, let's go for it. I was going to say it's a little dark, but I'm going to use it anyway. Kind of like a burnt umber with that red mixed in, looks like. Is that my phone, baby? Did I get a text? I got a girlfriend I usually text every morning, and I haven't texted her today. Well, a couple of them. I have a couple of girlfriends, but there's one we try to keep in touch every morning. Looking up to see if I'm still recording, and I'm doing my usual, I don't know why I just did that. Doing my usual shading spots. Well, this part over the eye here is a little different, but still real similar. And I do love watercolor on gesso. It is a bit finicky, but I love it. I love the look of it. Might got a little dark in there, but that's okay. That's one of the benefits to it, though. If you do put too much, it's super easy to lift off. There, that color was okay by itself. I thought I was going to have to add a yellow ochre or something into it, but it's okay. It's almost kind of blending up with this red in this map. I'm gonna figure out now what color I want her eyes and her lips. And I always go with that Quin Magenta on the lips. I love the Quin Magenta in this. It looks, if you've got Daniel Smith, it's closer to their Quin Rose. Their Quin Magenta to me is more purple. This is closer to a pink. Does she have a snarky grin? Because her lip goes up over here. I believe she does. She got a little attitude. Okay, what color do we want her eyes? I think I'm going to do some green. There's some green in here. So what I'm going to mix, I normally don't like this Viridian green by itself. Not for the way I've been using it. Even in leaves I'll mix it. So I'm going to grab some Viridian green and a smidget of that color we just used here if there's enough left on this palette. Because that's going to give it a little bit of a sage green brown. And add it so she'll have a hazily green. Yep, that looks good. I might add a little more green into that in a minute. So it shows up a little more green. But I'm okay with that. I don't know. I kind of like it like it is. This lights, the sun's rising over my shoulder over here. It's fixing to get bright. Cool. So, my thought process on this next is what I want to add around her, because I don't normally use or like to leave a lot of blank space around it. Sometimes I'll flip back and see if there's something I might want to incorporate into this one too. I may just do some loose flowers while this is drying, so I'm not using that heat tool that's so loud. And it has 4 leaves. That even number really, I don't dig. And yep, I'm gonna go right over into her on this. And these pencils I use, usually I use a 0.5 millimeter. And when you work over this gesso, it chews that lead down. I'm constantly having to refill it. So I want to add one over here too. Is it still recording?
Yeah.
Okay, there, we'll do that. Then I'm going to add some color to the flowers using a smaller brush. That other brush was the Silver Black Velvet number 8, and this one's the Princeton Neptune number 4. I need to get a smaller black velvet, or do I have one? I know I have one in the travel brushes, but I don't think I have one in the round. I've got this one I don't even use. I need to try to use Silver Black Velvet. It's that, I don't know what they call that. It says striper, but it's pretty neat. You can do some neat stuff with it, but I haven't used it much. I need to play with it more. Anywho, off on a tangent. Now I'm going to pull some of this pink out here, but because I got this red here, I think I'm going to mix this Quin Magenta with the permanent alizarin crimson that's in this palette. And there's 2 palettes mixed here. I don't know if you can see. Let me put it there. There's 2 different core sets in this palette. There's the high chroma and I can't even remember what the other one was. It's like a traditional, not traditional, but I can't remember. Anywho, I didn't mean to get more crimson. Not sure where that quit at. I don't think it was too far back because I just looked up. Anywho, I'm adding some color to these flowers. And what I'm going to do next, I keep having to reach around this tripod. I'm hopefully soon going to get something in here. I don't know. It's not like the top priority on our list. Now I'm going to add some of that pink, I say pink, Queen Magenta splatters all about. She's pretty. She's alright. Her eyes are off. Something's off with her eyes today. Is it this? You can always go back in and kind of play with this stuff and make it balance it out. I don't know, something just looks off about her. I don't know what it is. Shouldn't have done that. Just leave it alone, Pam. So I'm gonna, nope, I'm not. Let me get some more of this pink Queen Magenta and put it in these flowers. Give it a little two-toneness to it. I should have done this while it was wet. That's okay. And grab some of that red by itself. There we go. And kind of mix it over here. Here, I like that better. Fixing to have to refill this Queen Magenta. So I'm going to put the Queen Magenta on one side of the leaves, petals, and while it's wet, get some wet alizarin crimson and put it on the other side where it semi-blends, and then leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Hello.
I did not mean that.
Was that you? It's all good. Your baby. There. I think I'm going to add some of that red in here because it needs to be a little more together. I'm just slightly pulling this color up. You hear my husband in the background. We're all snotty. We are all battling sinus issues. So I'm going to dry this and be right back. Okay, as I was drying this and holding it up, I'm looking at this eye because I'm kind of looking from an angle here. When I hold it up, I'm like, holy crap, do y'all see that? Her right eye is, whoa, it's terrible. I don't know how I'm going to fix this now because, or I do. I'm just going to go with it. Yeah, her eye is all jacked up. Let's see if I can fix this a little bit. Not only is her pupil off, the eyeball itself, this whole piece here, is messed up. This is one thing about art. If you completely don't like it, you can collage over it, paint over it, or figure out a way to make it work. Maybe. We shall see. I'm going to see if I can get this a little more balanced out. So I erased some under here. I'm trying to darken that line a little bit and pull this up because this has a more arched look and this was real flat. That looks a little better. And there was not much space between the pupil and the lid here. So how I will fix that now is go in with a white gel pen, and or I might even use some gesso if this doesn't fix that. It's hard to find good white pens. Well, depending on what surface you're working on, sometimes they'll work and sometimes they don't. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. It's like a math equation over here. You balance it all out. There. Just doing some scribblies now. Putting a little highlight here and there. Yeah, this pen, a lot of times to get these balls rolling, you can put it in your palm and make it roll. I think that's a little better. So I'm going to grab this blending stump and see if I can make it look a little more smudged. I didn't draw any lines with the pencil on her nose. I used the blending stump to kind of get the appearance of it. And I'm trying to balance out these sassy lips. There. Is that a little better? And now I think she needs some words. And it looks kind of bright here. I don't know what I want to do with here. Just leave it or put a word across here. Sometimes when I get to this point and I'm kind of indecisive of what I want to do next, I'll leave it alone. And in a couple of days I may have an idea spark to do something and add to it a little bit. So I may just leave this as it is. I keep trying to, I'm backwards on this camera. But her eyes are still not quite even, but it's going to be okay. Do I want to add some lashes? And my right ones, my right eyes, I'm always love the lashes I do on the right. And then going in the opposite direction on the left. It never really works out as good. Sometimes I'll spin the book around, but still doesn't quite look the same to me. So I'm going to darken this part up just a smidgen. Put her some lashes on. There, does that perk her up a bit? You know what I think I may do? I saw in somebody's painting earlier. What color did I want to use for that? I'm going to use some burnt sienna where this green was and just do a darker line around her iris here and see if that, what that looks like. Because my eyes are darker around the edge of the iris like that, and it goes lighter towards the inside. This is one thing, it's always a, am I finished? Am I not finished? Put some Payne's Gray in here. I think that Payne's Gray would have looked better around the edge than that brown. I'm just going to do a light streak and see. And with a wet brush kind of pull it in. See how that looks. I don't know if I just totally wrecked that or not. I'll see when I can look at it straight on rather than on the side. Probably should not put these lines on it. And what I may do is just take a wet brush and pull some of it out in certain spots so it looks more, a little more natural, not too perfectly matchy-matchy. There. I like that okay, I reckon. Now I feel like I gotta add to the eye. And this is my natural process. Add some of that Payne's Gray up here for a little bit of a shadow. And when you start darkening in stuff like this, one just leads to another, because then you feel like you don't want this darker than that. And I'm going to take just a slight bit of this Payne's Gray under here. And down here. You want it to all be together. And I did not add any pink for the jaws, or like oh, that made that square, didn't it? Blush. I don't want any blushy cheeks today. Yeah, I kind of like that. A little darker. Now I'm going to turn it and do the same over here. Try to. Let's see. Yep, I like that darker with that Payne's Gray. Sometimes I'll go in with purple, but because I'm already using that gray in her eyes, it looks, I could use purple on it now. See how that pupil's a lot bigger too? I might need to take some of that out if I can. Looks a little odd. Here, so just a semi-wet brush and pat it. I still want some words on this page. I just don't know what right now. Let me see if I can even it out. I will, since this is dry now, get 4B pencil, sharpen it a little bit because I want the line to be skinny and not too fat. And go around these again. I like the loosey-goosey, multiple lines around it. This one's going to come in front, this one's behind. Here. Cool, cool. I reckon this will. I don't know why I just did that, but it's okay. Just back and forth. And I think until I find some words for her, I'm going to be done with her for now. Okay, so I figured out what I wanted to do. It just took me a moment. I pulled out my Tim Holtz words, the bigger ones. These are called Big Chap. And looked through the words just to kind of figure out what I wanted. But Daydreamer is what I chose. And I put it on the stem of this plant and just drew lines around it. And now I think, because I don't want to draw lines around this to frame it in, I just want a hazy, antique look. So I'm going to take this Distress Oxide Vintage Photo and go around the edge. Because I just want to distress it a little on the edges. And I think then I'll be happy with it. I kind of put it on the edge of it too. I don't do the whole circle. So I can kind of have a little control over it. And then I think when I do this, I'll be happy with it and be done. Because even though there's nothing right here, I think it's okay. By adding this dark color, it'll bring it all together now. Make it look a little more cohesive now. Just slightly go over those just a smidgen maybe. There. Now it makes your eyes kind of go to her because this is dark around. It kind of gives you that, what is it called when you zoom in the middle and hazy out the background?
Blur out the background.
Blur it out. There. Maybe she's dreaming about traveling because I don't travel much. I've always wanted to. Okay. It just took me a minute to kind of gather my thoughts because when you're on camera, you're trying to think of what you can do that would be pleasing to everybody and not so much in your natural creative state. But yeah. Anywho, trying to get that line out of here, but it'll be okay. I think now I'll call that done. And this time I'll be going for real. But thank you for watching. If you have any comments or requests, put them down below. And I'll see you next time.